Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy New Year to everybody. And we are back with lots of juicy things to talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the we could go into our New Year's a little bit. It was very quiet. We were supposed to head to Scottsdale.
Yeah.
And apparently, I just had a client call this morning, and she ran into the same thing. She heard that we were trying to find a rapid test right before New Year's.
Because we got some word, some people we were with had got tested positive, so we wanted to test. And,
so we literally on our way to the Hyastalia. We were on our way to the airport. And then we went to get tested, and there was not a test in sight. So anyway, our plans were averted, and we stayed home and with our son, and it was with Cameron, and it was lovely.
It was fantastic.
It really was not what we expected, but it was great.
Self quarantine New Year's.
Yeah, exactly. But so you may be asking about this title, like, wait a minute. So this whole king thing, like, what does that mean? And I work with women, as you know, and men, as John does as well. And how many people do you talk to that they are only going to be with a king? I mean, how many women you speak to them, whether they're your clients or not, do they talk about this?
You know, it's a number of them, but on the men's side, they're obviously like, I only want to be with the queen, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, the question is that how are you showing up to attract this person in your life? Or better yet, if you're in a relationship already and you're frustrated with your partner, whether it's your queen or your king, what are you doing to actually evoke that in them? And it never works by telling a woman you need to be more feminine. Just like it never worked for us to tell them they need to be more masculine. So it is interesting with a lot of people when they start doing this work that John and I teach, and we've had the privilege and the choice of working with lots of different teachers. They really talk about this, and many women will want to, well, here's a book to read, or here's this, or
well, you can get that's something I've heard. You can get weaponized to some extent.
Gotcha.
Right? You know, like you're not masculine enough. You're not leading me. You're not. You know, it becomes the terms become weapons as opposed to
absolutely
gifts.
Yeah. And so we're not opposed to ladies if you for example, want to like send them John's online group. That's great, but there's a way that we do it that is special. But I want to, and special, and actually not emasculating it in itself. I actually wrote. Sometimes I get really motivated to write, and I was up till 4:00 in the morning writing a lot of content. And one of the things I wrote about was actually this very thing. Like, what are we doing actually to show up as a queen? And also, if we notice behavior where they aren't. Is that Shannon? I think that might be a Shannon on the call. Are we allowing men to get away with less than king-like behavior? Yeah. That was right, Shannon. There you are. And what I find is that a lot of women actually know way in advance that their partner is, or even their sons, for example, are not showing up in that king-like way. But we think that we're doing some service by allowing them to stay in that spot. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. It becomes almost, it's more of an enablement.
100%,
right? Than anything else. And what I've also seen so many times is it can build resentment as well, because what happens is when we get focused on, well, when that person changes, I'll change, right? Yeah. If they were different, I'd be different, right? When we're doing that sequence of events, what we're doing is a couple of things, right? First off, we're just contributing to the inertia in the relationship. But the second thing is we're focusing more on that person's shortfallings, which we don't have the ability to change. And we're just going to get more of it because that's where our focus is going and that's where our energy is going.
Yeah, wow, inertia. I haven't heard that word in a very long time, but it's so fitting here. But I am going to say this, babe. I actually do think that, especially as women, we actually have something that can sting you back to consciousness,
absolutely,
evoke you to actually want to shift.
Yeah.
And it comes with us actually being in our heart. And something that a lot of the women, even some of the women on the call right now, who are on this live, they work with me on a deeper space. And I teach them how to artfully share their heart, about what they really feel without emasculating and cutting off their balls without the toxic feminine behavior of the eye roll or the passive aggressiveness or the withholding.
Well, it's something you do so beautifully because, and I learned this very early on in our days of dating, and you still do it, to this day, that you will ask just the right question at just the right time. And it's just like this little question. I used to call them the stealth questions. Like they would bypass every defense mechanism I had. And you'd ask this question, and I'd be like, oh.
Like, like what?
Well, like,
yeah. Thank you. And thank you, by the way. I received that.
Yeah,
but I'm curious for these ladies that might be watching, because I think they're actually, some of my students are on here too. So this is really good.
Yeah.
And I did not set him up for this, I promise. But this is juicy. Okay.
I remember when we were dating, and we talked about, we had during our dating, we had very deliberate rules on what we considered sex and what we were going to honor during our dating and what we weren't.
Whoa. Wow. You're actually going to talk about this.
I am. And I remember one day you're like, well, what does that look like? How long would it be? And I'm like, well, I think 90 days, right? I pulled a number out of, I'll say the air because it's a family broadcast.
Yeah, yes.
I pulled a number out of the air and was like, well, we can be intimate after 90 days. And you were kind of evaluating me at this time. You were kind of summarizing, like, who is this man? What is he really about? And I remember you asked this question, and I can't remember the exact words, but it was along the lines of like, oh, where in the Bible is 90 days mentioned?
Well, and let me give you some context. So where this started is that I asked if I could see his online profile, because he dated online, and I was not dating online at the time. And so he showed me his profile. And you have to understand, y'all have heard me talk about I was dating intentionally. Again, something that we work on in my program. But anyway, so I was just revealing my heart. I never expected John to be the one. I did not want to stay in Florida. I was planning on moving to California.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Exactly. It's still hope, although I don't think I'll go to California. But anyway, my point is that I really was testing and dating intentionally and revealing my heart and wondering. And so I was looking for a trustable, noble, conscious man. I was looking for a king. And I had been through a lot of men who, at the end of the day, I couldn't trust because they weren't consistent. And then of course, that meant I wasn't consistent, which is the point of what I wrote today on Facebook, if you read the blog. But anyway, what I asked John, so I saw that John wanted a woman who was already grounded in her faith, was grounded in the space, what have you. And so so when I asked that question, where is that in the Bible? Mm-hmm. It was really coming from that place. And it wasn't even about religion or the Bible or anything. That was more like, John, I'm looking for a trustable man.
And you saw it was out of alignment.
Yes.
With everything else. The audio, as you say, the audio and video wasn't in sync.
Yeah.
And it really hit me. It hit me hard because it just, like I said, it bypassed all my defenses. Like, it was almost like having a bucket of cold water thrown on me. And it shocked me back. And I think I paused for about a minute.
He did.
I just totally, paused. And then I came back and said, okay, then we're not doing anything until we get married.
And I was like, well, wait a minute. Was that a proposal? We've only been dating for like a couple of weeks. So, again, if we don't promise that if someone does our program, they're going to be married in 111 days. But what I am saying is that I really desire for everyone to speak their truth. And there's a way, ladies, that we can do that without the staccato gun cadence. And
I want to bring up something else too. I want to bring up a second incident where this happened, because it's not, sometimes our questions weren't always questions, and sometimes they weren't all done in this very calm question asking way. I remember one time I had a group in my house that I was leading. And we were doing a study group, and we were in my house. Sandy happened to sit with me, and I missed supporting a man that was there in the group. I missed really supporting him. He had some needs. I missed it. I closed the meeting out because I'm like, we're going to keep it on time. And I dropped the ball. And Sandy At the end of it, after everyone left, she was like,
Ooh,
I can't believe you did that. You dropped it. But she picked up all my papers and she just threw them up in the air.
my confetti.
Papers going everywhere, all over my house.
And again, understand we had only been together for a short amount of time, but one of the things that I really desired was to be in a partnership with someone who was already leading men's groups. Someone again, and I. So I was there admiring him because he did such a beautiful job, and there was this one person there who I felt that needed some extra
Yeah.
support, and it
Yeah.
wasn't my group, right? It wasn't my group. So anyway, so I was very passionate about it. I was totally the hot mess, with an open heart. And I wasn't worried about, is he going to like me? Is he going to break up with me? Whatever. It was more about what's better for the world. And so, that's what I'm asking all of you today. Yeah.
Yeah.
That are watching this. I mean, are you showing up as yourself to be the best you can for the world? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that was a huge and that open heartedness was such a huge part of it because I could feel it wasn't about you did some, like I did something wrong, I was a bad boy,
It wasn't
anything
a
like
monster,
that.
right?
Right. What I really felt was that I had an opportunity to make the world a better place and I dropped it. And that made me less of a man as well because I dropped it. And it wasn't done in a way to shame me. It wasn't done in a condescending fashion. It was done. I could truly feel it was done from a perspective of making me a better man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. And I'm sure there have been times in my former life where, hi, Angela. Thank you, Daisy, for that I did not show up that way. And even in our relationship, I mean, let's be honest, I don't always show up and with my sacred feminine. A lot of times it's very toxic. But I just felt called after writing that last night. I just kind of channeled this, and I really want to say to all the women out there that it's not hopeless. You don't have to move to a different partner necessarily. There are things you can do to work on who you are, to be able to evoke this king. And even I'm getting a new certification based on the Love and Respect book that I talk about a lot. There's even a way with as moms, we can really evoke respect and honor in our little boys. I
Mm-hmm.
wish I would have known this when I was
Mm-hmm.
a single mom many, many, many years ago, because I didn't realize how many times I probably was not. In fact, I know I was not serving my son in the best light. I was doing the best I could with what I knew. So I'm excited to be able to bring this even deeper into some of the work that John and I do.
Well, and that's just it. Your insight as a queen invoke. It's not just invoking the king in me. It's invoking the king in our children. It's invoking the king in your brother. It's invoking king in your other men. It doesn't have to necessarily be your partner that you're with.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. And that's something I want all women to see is that we can really love and honor men while we're working on ourselves, and that doesn't mean that we take on projects. It doesn't mean there's so much more there that we're not going to go into here, but we can talk about that. Y'all always know that you can reach out and we can schedule a call. Schedule a call with John, schedule a call with me. So we can go deeper. Hi, Vanessa. Yeah. So I think that's kind of all. Yeah, we teach deeper on this with our clients, but we'll leave that
Well,
here.
no, I think that's a great segue because we both have groups that we've established that allow us to build more of a community and go more deep into these topics. And I know you made a decision on yours that you wanted to share with everybody.
Yeah, well, the sisterhood, as y'all know, is my 6 to 8 month program that many have gone through. I mean, it's so exciting, and that I'm going to start that up again at the end of January. I'm still accepting applications if you're interested. But there were so many people, women that have been watching us or that have known me for years, that wanted a community that was hi Yvonne, that was a free online community that talk specifically about things like this. That's a true sisterhood community where it's tailored towards how we show up in the world in relationship and the embodiment space and like a spiritual healing space. And so essentially it's like my sisterhood, Sacred She Sisterhood Light, where we can go there. So it was a subscription based model, but what I did was so many people requesting, I got a download and God's like, just open it up to everyone. And so that's what we've done. So it's sacredshesociety.com and you can join for free. There are a few questions that you'll answer to make sure that you feel qualified to join the group
And get a great gift.
and get a gift.
Get a gift.
Everything's about the gift. And then I also ask you to share this with others. Share this with other women that might be craving a depth in the embodiment space. And I don't just mean movement, but just where we can talk about relationships with our children, with our partners, our purpose and all of that. Which, by the way, I want to say, John has the privilege of and they have the privilege of meeting you. And he does all the interviews for our testimonials for the group. And I watched one today for gorgeous Shauna, and I really touched me, her testimonial.
All of them are so powerful.
Yeah,
every single one is so powerful.
They actually, they are. Yeah. And I think especially for her in the space, because she was a tough cookie. And hearing the fact that she started her, her new business in the middle of the pandemic to success, and she attributed a lot of it to the fact that she finally allowed herself to feel with the support of what I was teaching her, and for the you're welcome, Yvonne, and for the other women holding space for her. So, it's not my sisterhood program. It's not my one-on-one program, but it is something that's super, super deep. And because I don't know how to do it otherwise, honestly. I mean, I really don't.
No.
I don't.
Yeah. No, you don't.
So anything else you want to add?
No, I think that was, well, how do women join if they want to join the society?
Well, sacredshe-society.com, and you can forward that and share with friends. It is on Facebook. And then John has his, is it menignited.com?
Menignited.com.
Yep. And so for you ladies that are like, well, I think I am with the king after hearing Sandy and John talk, but I'd like for them to be involved in some deeper work. I mean, John and I do discovery calls with couples, if that's something you're interested in, but menignited.com is where people can join your group, which is basically the polar opposite of what we're going to do, ladies. And we need more men doing this
and
work.
Deliberately so.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something different. I mean, I've even noticed how my son, I can say the same thing to Cameron, and then you could say it and he will respond to you differently. Mm-hmm. There is something about men, sharpening other men. Yeah.
There is.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's great stuff.
And it is embodied. It is embodied to us a lot about being bolder in the world. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can always tell men that are doing men's work. I can always tell after John comes off of when he's talked to his coach or his men's group, whether you're leading or not, or you're participating in another group, you come in walking taller. It's like when Tony talks about the 2 millimeter shift, there's a shift here, and I can get shivers sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember in the mountains when you were upstairs in the loft, and I could never really hear what they were saying. He always had headphones on. Mm-hmm. So I never heard the other men, but I could hear John, like the bass of his voice. And I was on leading one of my sisterhood calls, and it's like, wow, I can feel his presence. I could feel you in that space. Mm-hmm. So, hi, Claudio. How are you?
Example of how you invoke a king here.
Yeah.
Right here.
And it's honest. And it's real.
Is.
So
it is.
Anyway, guys. So anyway, I cannot wait to see you on the society, or if the deeper space is opening, you feel called, reach out, DM me. We can talk, and I'm excited. So happy New Year, guys. We are back, and can't wait to serve you somewhere out there in the universe.
There you go.
All right.
That's it.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.